Hello again and welcome to another edition of Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds. And I'm afraid this episode is likely to be a little bit shorter than the last few. I know I've been trying to keep them up somewhere around about the 30-minute mark, but due to life getting in the way of making videos, I've had a really busy few days leading up to me being able to record this particular episode, and I normally record it over about, you know, three or 4 days, and I'm having to try and fit this in a single day. First thing, I was away the weekend on a reunion, an army reunion, and I know some of my ex-army colleagues watch these videos, so thank you very much for a wonderful weekend up there in Sunderland. And the other thing was my son Jack went back to university. I know Jack occasionally, very occasionally, watches my videos. He mentioned the other day, well, in fact, I'll come on to that. So Jack very kindly agreed to look after the birds while I was away at that weekend. He's not really a big, you know, bird fan of like me, so doesn't show that much interest in it. He's more interested in space and things like that, which is what he's studying down at university. But he agreed to look after the birds, and while I was showing him exactly what he needed to do while I was away, I was talking about some of the birds, and then he decided to Google some of that, particularly what opaline meant when I was talking about that's an opaline and that's a cinnamon. And one of the videos came up, so he decided to watch it. One of my videos came up, so we decided to watch it. Anyway, enough of that waffle about Jack looking after him. But if he is watching this video, thanks very much, Jack, for looking after the birds whilst I was away. You did an absolutely splendid job. And while we're on the subject of thank yous, a big thank you to those of you who let me know which was your favourite of the 6 hens that I showed you in the last episode. If you haven't seen that episode, do go back and have a look at it. So generally speaking, there were 2 birds that sort of came out as favourites, I suppose. I know some people voted twice, said this was their favourite, but they also liked, so I've taken that into account a little bit here. So first of all, there was the dominant pied, the green dominant pied came out quite high for most people, and the other one was the last of the birds, which, if my memory is correct, was a cinnamon green hen, and that's all. So those 2 were virtually tied for top. What I will do is I'll pop up the final scores, the final tally on the screen now, so you can take a quick look at it. But once again, thank you very much for letting me know which was your particular favourite of those birds. Unfortunately, I think I sort of said I was going to try and look at the cockbirds, do a similar process with the cockbirds in this episode, but unfortunately, because I've been away, I just haven't had a chance to sort the cockbirds out, and it wouldn't be fair of me trying to rush that. So instead, in this episode, what we're going to do is we will have a look at the last 2 of the birds, the young birds that we haven't looked at. They were the last 2 that were in cage number, I think it was cage number 1, or might have been cage number 6. Yeah, cage number 6, wasn't it? Sorry. So in cage number 6, we'll have a quick look at those 2 birds, and then I will finally talk a little bit about a problem I had with seeds this week. So, right, let's get the 2 youngsters out of the nappy flight we haven't looked at, and we'll take a look at those now. So here we are. This is the first of the 2 youngsters that we're going to take a look at. You might remember I said this bird looked particularly nice when it was in the still in the cage, and I quite liked it, and I'm hoping you can see why I quite like this bird. Bearing in mind, this is one of the younger of the birds that we've got. In fact, it's the youngest bird I've bred, I think. It's a cockbird, light green cockbird, normal light green cockbird, and I think so it's still a barhead, but it is already quite a nice big bird. I'm just going to try and see if I can get him to settle a little bit in the show cage. Being a young birdie, they do. He hasn't had a massive amount of show cage training, but he has got, you know, considering how young this bird is. Try and get him back onto the back up onto the perch again. Oh. Let's just see if he'll shouting at me now. I think he was a noisy bird in the breeding cage, wasn't he? Anyway, he's up again now, so let's hope you can have a look at him. You look at the face on this bird, and it looks like it's going to be absolutely terrific in terms of my birds. So you can see there, he's got a really wide shoulders and head, a nice mouth. Now look at the spots on this bird already. Bearing in mind this is still a baby, so they're still baby spots. There's plenty of them, and they're already quite nice. They look a little bit on the long side, and I mean by that is, you know, the spots are supposed to be round, and I know in most cases now we never have round spots anymore, but they do look long, but they're going to be nice and big. If you look at the size across the top of that head and over the top, it's going to have some real nice blow on it once it matures a little bit and breaks its cap. In case you're wondering what I mean by break its cap, if you're new to Budgerigars, you can see that this bird has markings going across the top of the head. They're called, so the bars extend across the top of the head, which is why quite often young baby birds, baby budgies, are called bar heads. As they grow and as they molt out, those will disappear and the top of the head will become a clear yellow. But you can see, how young he is. He's already a very nice big bird. I'll try and get him back up again so you can see what he's like. See if I can get him to stand. There we go. So he's a really nice big long bird. Stands really well. I mean, look at that stance there. Oh, he stands lovely. So really sort of saying, you know, to the judge, pick me, I'm terrific. Doesn't show a massive hinge tail. I love the upright position of this bird. You can see, so I'm looking at him straight on now above the perch. So I'm looking at the perch, standing in line, and the front of his beak doesn't come more than 2 bars, 1 bar away from the perch, which shows his uprightness on there. And I know, you know, it makes him look that extra bit longer. But like I say, still only a very, very youngster here. Yeah, I think we spotted this one in the when he was still in the box and said he was going to be nice. If this bird keeps developing the way he is going to be one of the best birds I've bred, I think. That's just my own opinion. Let me know your thoughts on this bird. Yeah, I do like him, as you can probably hear in my voice. It was well worth giving these birds that last opportunity, wasn't it? That lucky accident of this one's producing before I split them has gone down very well, certainly in terms of this youngster. Anyway, that's this one. Its sibling, you might remember, was a hen. I think it was an Opaline Hen. We'll get it out now and have a look at it anyway. My view is not quite as nice as this bird, but given that it's, you know, a sibling of this and probably carrying many of the similar genes, I expect I will keep it anyway. But you can have a look at it and let me know your thoughts on it. Right, I'm going to pop this one back and we'll get the sibling out and have a look at it now. And so this is the sibling of the bird we just looked at, a hen, opaline cinnamon light green hen. Really unhappy. I just got the cage a little bit too far around. Unhappy in the show cage. I'll give her a little second just to see if she'll settle. There you go, she's settled a little bit. You can probably see she doesn't quite have the same head as the cockbird we just looked at, which is not unusual in my shed for the cockbirds always seem to have a better looking face on them than the hens. She's sort of settling a little bit, not massively. Again, I'll see if I can get out of the way so she settles. Once again, a nice, reasonably upright looking bird. And again, quite a nice, she's quite a long bird, given her age. She's a little bit older than the one we looked at a second ago. Not massively, you know, it's only by days. But she is looking quite a longish bird. Very flighty. Doing the normal acrobats that you get when they're not happy in the show cage. I'll just see if I can get her attention so she see if I can get her attention, and then there you go. Hopefully now I'm just waving my hand to see if she'll settle a little, stop flighting. So again, a bird in terms of style, being nicely upright on the perch, and I will just stop for a few seconds and see if she'll settle, and then we'll come back to her. Well, she is semi-settling in the cage. What I've done is I've left the camera recording, and with me not being in here. So if and now I'm doing the speaking bit. So if the speaking doesn't quite match what is going on in the cage, then I do apologise for that. Anyway, like I say, this bird not quite as good as her the cock sibling, but again, a nice bird. She has a nice upright bird, carrying a lot of the genes that her sibling has. She has a reasonable mask on her, but given that she's an opaline, you would sort of expected her to have bigger spots than her brother, wouldn't you? But that's not the case. You can see again that she's still a bar head, and so she still has a bit of growing to do. She's, in terms of size, not so. In terms of length, she is about the same as her brother, but in terms of overall width of face and shoulder, a much smaller bird. But again, she has she's got quite a lot over the top of the head, which I quite like. You can see she's just starting to break her cap, this bird. And again, not too beaky. And when she does stand up well, she stands quite high off the perch, shows that length. And again, well, she's not, I don't think, anyway, let me know your views, but my view is I don't think she's quite as good as her sibling, but overall, she's going to be quite a nice hen for me, I think. And I said it, a little while ago, she carries most of the genes of her brother, so there are times when she you know, sort of shows her face a little bit, and then she starts to look a little bit more impressive, a little bit more solid. But yeah, I think, you know, overall, the last two birds that come out of that cage were well worth the wait. A little bit of serendipity, isn't there? Well worth the wait, I think. Anyway, that's the two birds looked at. I'll leave the camera running a little bit for it, just so you can have so if she does settle, you can have a really nice look at her. Right, and then we'll pop her back and we'll talk about the problems I had with seed. Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at those two birds. Like I did say, let me know your thoughts on both of them. I am quite pleased with both of those birds, as a matter of fact, but particularly the normal light green cock bird. Probably heard them when I was talking, that I was happy with that particular bird and the outcome we got from that pair, which is really good news. Anyway, if you did enjoy that or enjoy any part of the video, then don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. All the thumbs up, you know, help the video to be, you know, the YouTube algorithm means that more people will find it. And don't forget also that please do comment on the video. So, you know, let me know what you think about those two birds in the comment. And thanks for all those of you who do comment regularly. And of course, those of you that watch the videos will know that at the end of the video, I put the names of all those people who commented on the last video up there, just as a way of saying thank you. Please do, of course, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet a subscriber. And if you want those early notifications, then hit the bell. And of course, if you're feeling even more generous, don't forget, you can always follow the link in the description to buy me a coffee. Right, what we'll do now is talk about the problem I had with the seed. Now, those of you that watch the videos regularly will know that I get my seed from Haiths, which is a company over here in the UK. It's really nice seed, it's very clean, there's very little dust in there. They do a whole process about taking the dust out, and I know some people find it a little bit too shiny, but it does look very, very nice, and like I say, it's always very clean. The delivery system from Haiths is, you know, I get it delivered to my door, and it normally comes within just a day, but particularly when you're buying the aviary seed. I think they do wild bird mix as well, and I think that tends to take a little bit longer. I think they prioritise the aviary seed just because they know that, you know, there's nowhere else the birds can go to find food, is there? Whereas with the wild birds, you miss a day, they'll find somewhere else, won't they? Anyway, enough of that. So like I say, they always deliver nice clean seed and bang on time at a reasonable price. The delivery charge is free for what I order. However, this time round I ordered so my normal order of Budgerigar breeders mix, and I ordered some new seed for the finches. It arrived. Lo and behold, I opened the bags, the first bag up, because I needed to get the Budgie Breeders mix, which is always the one that runs out first, and it definitely wasn't Budgie Breeders mix that was in there. You can see, I'll show you the contents of that bag here. Wasn't initially, at first I thought, oh, I've ordered the wrong thing, or that was a different mix for the finches. So I checked the label on the bag and it said Budgie Breeders mix on there. So I clearly had ordered the right mixture. And so I hadn't got the two bags mixed up, but I did check the foreign finch, and you can see again, I'll show you it here, the foreign finch mix was exactly as I expected, foreign finch mix. So clearly that bag there wasn't the original bag. Somehow either the label had been put on the wrong bag, or the contents of that bag came from the wrong place. Because it was clearly, I think, that seed that came for me was a general Avery mix, having been back on the website. Pardon me. I have contacted Haiths so far. Normally they get back to me really quickly whenever I've contacted them about a delivery. So far they haven't come back to me on this one. I think I will just chase them and let them know, but I don't know whether they've had a problem with the labelling system or whatever. Now, had I had all the breeding cages up and running, I would have been really concerned, and I would have definitely ordered another bag and let them know. I'd have probably phoned Haiths to let them know what the problem was, because the last thing I would have wanted was for the birds to suddenly have a different mix in their seed dishes. But I had, bit of luck that I closed all the cages down, so I popped this in. Of course, I was going away as well, which didn't help. So I have been using this in the main flights, so both the nappy flights and the 2 main flights. They have been eating it, although they have been leaving a fair bit of or some of the seeds has been left. What I've been doing as well is I've been mixing in a little bit of the foreign finch mix with it, because a lot of the seed that is in there is the seed that seems to be missing from the Budgerigars. Now the Budgerigars should have just been a 50-50 mix, so it's 50% millet and 50% plain canary. So there's definitely some of the plain canary mixing from it. So what I've been doing is, when I've been putting it in the tray, a bit of the foreign finch mix and a little bit of the my general canary mix has been mixing in with that, just to make it look a little bit more like what it should be. What I'm going to do is order another bag of Budgerigars, and I will then mix those two together in a sort of 75% 50 mix, just to try and get rid of that Avery seed. Well, that's the problem I had with the seed anyway. So let me know what you do if your supplier suddenly lets you down with, or sends you the wrong type of seed. Like I say, first time it's happened. Normally I'm really pleased with the seeds that I get, but I will obviously have to keep an eye on that this doesn't become a regular problem from Haiths. I'll let you know how I get on and whether Haiths come back and contact me. Again, I say normally very happy with my seed supplier, and I know lots of other people who, many of whom watch the channel, say that they get their seeds from Haiths and have never had a problem with it. So that's the problem with the seed mix. Well, that does bring us to the end of another episode of Shed Talk. Hope you enjoyed it, and apologies if it is a little bit shorter than the normal episodes that I put out. Next week we will be back to normal, and next week we will be looking at some of the birds that are behind me. The final few cockbirds, we'll be sorting through those, and again, a bit like the last episode, I'll show you the top 6 or so birds, and you can let me know your thoughts on it. But until that one, as always, do stay safe, enjoy your birds.